call this March 22nd meeting to order. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. I think we have a few guests in the audience, so there'll be parts of the meeting that we might get to that we address some of you. So we have the agenda before us. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions from the agenda?
Works 5, restroom update.
That's fine. Update. I'm actually going to add 2 concerns of trustees. Number 2 will be Route 62 relocation. And number 3, I'm going to add safety committee update. Anything else? Okay, the agenda will stand as edited. So the first thing that we have is unfinished business.
Thank you. Unfinished business item number 1 is to amend a previous resolution to pay Precision Muscular Mechanics for our wellness program from the below fund.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. And that is the end of unfinished.
And that takes us to new business.
Thank you. Did you want to introduce?
Yeah,
yours?
actually, we've got our Ohio Edison External Affairs Representative, Troy Rhodes here. As Troy had reached out to me earlier today about introducing an individual who's going to be taking over geography, another amazing individual that I happen to know as well. And so, Troy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, trustees and other members of the board here. Just wanted to come up and say hello. Also to let you know that Amy Hopkins is taking my place in this area. We've done a little reconfiguration of Stark County, similar to how it happened 2 years ago with Lord Tubo and I. We did a little bit of a switch. Amy fortunately lives like 20 minutes from here, and I'm 60 minutes from here. So it's a little closer to her territory. Not that I don't mind the drive, listen to the XM radio and all that kind of stuff, but still. So we're going through this process of introducing Amy. She'll be taking over for the evening. What I'd like to just say is thank you very much for all your support. And know that Amy's been doing this job for about 18 months and will do a phenomenal job for you also. So I appreciate your attentiveness to some of my emails that I send out to you, a few of them, to get out there. And any issues that you have, hopefully I've been able to address them appropriately for you. Before I step away and let Amy sort of introduce herself and give her a little background, just a couple things I wanted to go over. You know, one of the unique things with Plain Township and a lot of the neighboring Stark communities is how many customers are there really in Ohio Edison service territory that you guys cover for the large population of Plain Township. We have about 615 customers. So that sort of lets you know where you stand on that. So every once in a while the questions may come up, hey, what do we do from an Ohio Edison perspective? You may be curious about that. I was out on your website and I noticed that under your utilities, there's an opportunity to potentially put a link out there. So if people have any concerns or questions, you can just route them to that link and they can answer questions like how to report a street light that's out. You guys have 6 of them. One's a POL and 5 street lights somewhere out there, if you knew that or not, right? So how to report that street light's out. If there's any kind of problems, power outages, limbs in the yard, any questions that they may have, it may be simpler just to chase them right to that website and then to be able to get that. So I'll make sure Amy gets that to you. The other thing I wanted to is the street lights yourselves. Understanding and knowing where those street lights are, you know, so to help facilitate that, there is an LED program out there that's coming around, and there's 3 options under that LED program if you're interested in converting those. There's one program where you purchase the LED lights up front. It's roughly about $210 a light, or you can put it on a payment plan, and $200 and some dollars a light over 4 or 5 years. And then the third option is just on replacement. There's no upfront capital costs on that whatsoever. You just sign a contract. Once that light is identified that it needs to be replaced, we just put it on an LED. You go onto that LED rate. Might be something to look into. Again, Amy can talk to you about that if you have any interest in that. So, thank you very much. I'm always there. If Amy's on vacation, you'll probably be hearing from me anyway, okay?
Before Amy
Yeah.
starts speaking, Troy, I'd like to thank you for your time. I know you've been a highly responsive to the township needs, but you've also been a very strong supporter of our Salute to Veterans
Yeah, absolutely.
program, being a veteran
Yeah,
yourself, so really appreciate that.
thank you. What you guys do.
And honestly, I know Amy and I connected through the SAM Center because of check
Oh, yeah.
presentation out there, so I know that there's additional support there, but I mean, it's not just on the working front, it's on the civic community
Right.
front as well, so.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Amy?
Thank you, Chair.
Well, those are tough shoes to follow. Well, thank you for having me. Again, my name is Amy Hopkins. I've been with the company for about 16 years. I've had various roles. So I feel like I can serve the community very well, and I look forward to it. So, do you want me to put my cards?
Yes, because Evie, I would like to get together with you at some point to talk about a lighting district on Easton,
Sure.
that the township would do,
Okay.
so I will
Sure.
reach out to you.
No, please.
That'll be perfect.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the end of new business.
Okay, that takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Fiscal officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $127,165.59.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 4 is the investment report.
Still earning those stellar rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, still pretty low.
Better than going the other way, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, next then.
Fiscal officer number 5 is a resolution to authorize the additional benefits of longevity pay to members of the Utility Workers Union of America, AFL-CIO Local 561, to meet the requirements of the attached schedule effective April 1, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 6 is a resolution to authorize the following reallocations.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 7 is a resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to the administrator.
Just, before I do my report, I just want Troy and Amy to know you guys don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. You're welcome to.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay, perfect. You're welcome to stay, but, so my item this evening is a resolution to enter into the attached agreement with Civpro for professional site design, specifically surveying for, the Oakwood Square Plaza, Clayton Township Amphitheater.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you, that's the end of the administrator report.
Thanks. That takes us to the fire department chief, Schallenberger.
Thank you. I got the 2 items tonight. Item one is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to reimburse Ryan Jones the amount of $383.40 for his healthcare membership according to provision 37 of the collective bargaining agreement.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number two is a resolution to amend Resolution 22-138 for the purchase of, for installation, labor, and payment of one natural gas generator for Station 47858 Market Avenue North.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? So this is a good amendment because it's cheaper.
That is correct.
Same thing.
Yeah. Same thing, but cheaper. So, anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department.
Thanks, Chuck. That takes us to road. JP?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have road number one. My only item tonight is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment to United Rotary Brush for street sweeper brooms and brushes not to exceed $5,840.40.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Thanks, JP. That takes us to zoning. Mr. Farrar.
Thank you, sir. Item number one is a resolution to declare item A as an abatement.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And item number two is a resolution to initiate an application to the Board of Zoning Commission for text amendment 580-22, short-term rental.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is a reset of the date for initiating this amendment to the zoning commission so that we're in line with the ORCs as far as dates go.
Okay, anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that's all for zoning.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to parks. Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you. Item number one is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment from Central Farm and Garden for baseball field material and seed not to exceed $20,144.80 be taken from Fund 2901-610-599 and Fund 2171-610-599.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number two is a resolution to enter into a field agreement with Jeremy Randall.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
These are one of those outliers that were out before we changed the template. There'll be 2 or 3 more of these total coming back.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to increase Ed Seebeck Jr.'s pay rate from $15.60 to $16.60 an hour for completion of his CDL Class B certification from funds 2171-610-112 or 2901-610-112.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution to authorize payment to Jerry Pate Turf and Irrigation for repairs to our Groundmaster 4700 or amount not to exceed $2149.38.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is the reel mower we use at Diamond. It's the first major service in 8.5 years we've had to have on it, which is a compliment to our mechanics as well as the durability of the machine. So, just time.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Item number 5 is a restroom update. Chief Sabo and I met out at the grounds today with our contractor. All looks good, all's ready to go. They're gonna bring a cleaning company in this week to touch it up. They're gonna throw some seed and some dirt and some straw down this week. We'll have keys and be open for business by the weekend, and once we see that all of our kinks, whatever issues we don't realize are there, are worked out, we'll schedule a ribbon cutting. There's no other questions, that's all for parks?
No, looks good. It's going to be a nice addition, that's for sure.
I'm excited.
Okay, thanks, Rob. That takes us to communications.
Yes, I have one item for communications. We had a lady who lost her cell phone at the parks. She was, had it in her stroller with her child. And, the parks gentleman found, our workers found her phone, quickly brought it up. Next thing you know, it was ringing. We missed the first call in, but the second one, she came in at the end of the day and just promised that I would let everyone publicly know how appreciative she was of them finding it, quickly getting up to the office with it and recovering it. So, thank you. Rob, if you'll express that to your guys.
Thank you.
All right, very good. That takes us to the portion of the meeting of public speaks. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board, at this time, please state your name and address for our fiscal officer, and you have the floor. Anyone? So I'm guessing,
There's, I know,
okay, so I'm guessing you are both here for merit badges?
Yeah,
What merit badge? Probably a citizenship, I'm guessing.
citizenship in the community.
Is that both of you citizenship
both
in the
of us.
community? Do you have any specific questions or anything that you would need us to help you with to help with this earning of this badge?
No, I don't need it.
I would suggest maybe you just take a copy of our agenda. Do we need to sign anything for you guys?
already asked them for it.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome. I hope you understand how government works a little bit better. I know some of this might have been confusing to you, but it's how we have to do business. Business by government has to be done in public, and everything that we do from an official standpoint is done in public. So,
As I was sharing with them, I mean, the meetings are more so procedural formality. We get information before then the discussion happens in this context. Otherwise, it's a violation of the Ohio Sunshine Law, which means your business has to be done in public with the exception of a couple reasons that are conditioned for what we call executive session closed door because of privileged information situations. So how far along in ranks are we?
I'm live right now. I'm working on my first class right now.
Okay.
so,
The one thing if I can jump in,
Yeah.
the one thing I can warn you both, just advice. I did scouts. Get your Eagle Scout at all costs. Do not let the whole fume situation get to you. That's perfume and gas fumes. Because trust me, when you get about 16, it's the perfume and the gas fumes that typically derails most guys from I mean, as much as it's funny, it's very serious. I've got, I think, 4 friends that are all Eagle Scouts. Now, I will say I've got my 4-year pipestone at home. So, I mean, the lessons you're learning, as much as you're like, when am I gonna use these in life? I promise you, fundamentals and principles will certainly carry through a lot later in life. It's not always about that immediate return, it's about being able to play the long game and utilizing those skills, so.
oh no, I would agree with that. So you're a life, so you gotta finish up with what, 21 merit badges?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there
I
are some,
have 2 left,
okay, good for
not
you,
including the one I'm working on.
good for you.
Oh, good.
So you're both welcome to come back anytime you want to any of these meetings. So welcome and good luck, by the way, to both of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, nothing else from anybody in the audience. That takes us to concerns. Okay.
Sorry, I just want to
Oh, no.
say thank you for, even though it's a public forum, but thank you for being welcoming to the kids and being, accommodating and stuff, so thank you very much for you guys. To you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of important to us, especially when they're doing merit badges regarding, citizenship in any part. There's what? Citizenship in the community, citizenship in the nation, I forget what. I think there's one now that's even for the world, right?
Do you have one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That didn't exist, by the way, when I was a scout, but,
It didn't exist when I
Yeah.
as a scout out here.
So, thank you for those comments, though. So that does take us to concerns of trustees. So the first, I think, Scott, is yours.
Tax Incentive Review Council meeting, short as meander, hospitality was continued, the only questions, and they come up every year, from Mary Jo Slick, is there's a number of part-timers at, the hotel. The short is, their number of part-timers is about half of what they were planned, but payroll numbers are well over, so, it was continued really with no challenges. It's gonna be expiring the end of next year, so we've got one more year of a hearing, and this was a 15-year agreement, so, given what they've went through, along with all the other, hotels through this funny COVID stuff, they've certainly held their own, and they've actually probably been one of the more respectable hotels up on the hill when it comes to working with us on stuff. Second one, I was anticipating this one being a little bit touchy, but it went off without a hitch, and that's Oakwood Square, because last year they were on probation for information being put in late, so I bird dogged this one the whole way through, and we got it in super early. Things I want to call out, because if we recall, what the plaza looked like back here about 5 years ago, the biggest challenge we had was with the schools on the whole tax abatement. You're taking money from the kids. And the reality is we're not, because they get their levy, they collect their dollars, plus they're getting 50% on the improved value, something that hasn't been voted upon. So you took a property that was almost $600,000 in arrears, that's real money in back taxes it was due, it's been brought current. So that's a good story in and of itself. But, the tax abatement was conditioned just strictly on the discount drug mart job numbers, which their original agreement was, hey, real property investment of approximately $4.2 million with some additional personal property of 1.7, then looking at 15 full-timers and 20 part-timers with a payroll of approximately $600,000. Well, let's leapfrog forward here to 2021. They've got real property investment value of 7.9 million, personal property investment of 3 million. But for jobs, 29 full-time and 48 part-time. That's crushed. It's over double.
Yes.
With payroll over $1 million. This goes to show when a tax incentive or tax abatement is done properly within measured control, the impact it can have. Because I know we're all biased here, but to me, this is one of the picture-perfect examples for anybody in Stark County to use. And again, these numbers, it doesn't include every other new business that has come back in there, and the reality is that plaza being 100% leased out, even when it was built new, it was never 100% leased out. At max, it was 70, and it was probably only physically occupied by 55 to 60%. So that was continued with it without question. So we're in good shape overall.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, when you see that kind of return for what little sacrifices you've made, there's gonna be no return if the project doesn't come to fruition. So,
Don't bite the hand
yeah,
that feeds you.
exactly, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So, good job on that, and good job on these guys back here as well. Anything else?
No.
Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about. I'll try to be brief, but both of these are fairly important. So we did an organizational meeting with all the partners involved with the Route 62 relocation project. So Chief was there, JP, Lisa, myself, Brooke, and we met with all the other partners that are involved directly in that project, which would be ODOT, Great Lakes, some of the engineering firms, some of the public information firms. And although that project is not ours, so we have zero work within that project, we are going to suffer the fallout from that project. So there are gonna be things that we're gonna wanna communicate directly, and they have established that communication tree, if you will. But there are gonna be things that are gonna be happening that we wanna try to use our social media sources and any information that we could get out to help them with information in regards to traffic patterns and traffic congestion that are gonna take place for the duration of that project. So for us, I can tell you, being involved in other projects, the fallout that we're gonna get is we're gonna get complaints from those neighborhoods about traffic, more specifically in the early morning hours and the evening hours of constant flow of traffic back into our neighborhoods. Because people are gonna learn that's gonna be the shortcut routes, and they're gonna go through there. And I can tell you, just after the accident that happened there the other morning, I knew something was going on out on the highway, because if I would've counted them, I could almost promise, there was probably 1,000 cars that went up and down my street. And if 10 of them stopped at that stop sign, that would have been a miracle. So I think there are gonna be times when we're gonna see this, so I think we have to kind of pool our resources together to figure out how can we best both cope and maybe accommodate that kind of thing. It's very tough, I realize it.
I think to build off that, there's clearly the points you're speaking to, but the residents, whether you like it or not, you must understand, and it's not gonna change whether we say it or the sheriff says it. Every one of those vehicles, as long as they're going the speed and they're meeting the weight limits, they legally have a right to be on that road. It's not your road, it's the public's road. Now, to your point of, if we could've got 10 cars to stop and stops, well then, I'm sure the sheriff will be happy to be stopping and ticketing and, we'll help change behavior one way or another, but it's important that the public realizes, okay, yeah, you have a couple hundred cars through there now for the duration of the project. You don't have to like it, but that's how it's gonna be as long as they're compliant with speed and weight limits.
So it's gonna be a very aggressive, it's already started, man, they're moving dirt like crazy now, so, if you get up that way, you're gonna see there's a lot going on in a short period of time. Did I miss anything, guys?
I think too, just as a backdrop for the folks that are in the crowd, this is a massive project. It's not like it's just happened within the last 6 months. John and I started dealing with this 2.5 years ago, almost 3. No, because Brooks going into 3. It's been every bit of 3.
Oh, absolutely.
3 plus
Yes.
years. State had come through with like 6 different plan options, and every last one of them was horrible. So we didn't just say, hey, they're horrible, we come back with all our feedback. Lo and behold, they come back with a totally new plan, where they adopted probably at least 85, if not pushing 90% of our recommendations, which is unheard of, but, considered a win-win on something that's inevitable, so.
So just to give you an idea, that's a $20 million project overall, 14 million just to move the road. But it's a $20 million project, buying all of that, and it's 1 mile of road. But it's going to improve safety. If you've ever been up through there, you don't realize how many private drives actually enter and exit off of that 4-lane highway. It's super dangerous. So they're gonna straighten that out a little bit, but it's 1 mile of road, $20 million. So, and actually, they think they're gonna be done by the end of, what were they talking? 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is more aggressive than what they thought. So, anyhow. Okay, second thing that I have, I just wanna bring everybody up to date on our safety committee. We periodically meet. What we tried to do when we originally established it was to just follow the process of evaluating a close call or evaluating a particular incident then pushing it back out to all of the departments within our operation so that they can individually reevaluate how would that affect our department, and then how in turn we would create either an SOG or train for possible future situations. And this one happened to have been a close call. One of our road employees almost got hit in an area where they were following every safety protocol that they could have possibly followed. And what we realized after that, and by the way, Captain Carver, thank you for coming to that meeting. We did invite Captain Carver. He had a lot of input on it. And he pointed out one very important thing that we also have to push back out to our employees, is that you could have a situation where you are following every possible safety situation, and you encounter an impaired driver, and no matter what you try to do, you're gonna possibly have a situation. So again, it just enhances that mentality of heightened awareness, that not everybody is paying attention. Since we had that meeting, by the way, there have been nationally a firefighter that was hit and injured severely because of smoke that drifted off of the road, and he wasn't even in the roadway. That was one. And 2 days ago, two Pennsylvania state highway police, whatever their upper level state police is, 2 of them were hit and killed by an impaired driver over there. So, you know, law enforcement is aware of it, Parks is aware of it, Road is aware of it, Fire is aware of it. We're just using that close call to go back and revisit all our situations. So, and we're gonna continue to do that throughout, you know, the process of whether we have close calls or an incident, or if just something comes up where we say, hey, it's time that we go back and we refresh everybody. So good job, guys. I appreciate your input at that meeting. Tom is also there. So, you know, we include every department in the township is included in those meetings for either input or what they're gonna take back to their respective employees. Okay, that's it. Anything else on the safety committee? You guys have anything to add? All of you were there. Eric leads those, by the way. Thanks, Eric, for setting all those up and putting all that material together. Anything else? Chuck, JP?
I think you covered it all.
Okay, thanks. All right, so that takes us to the approval of the minutes for March the 8th, and I will so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. So we do have a need for an executive session. Be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 6:33 p.m. on this March 22nd, as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of the consideration of 1D, discipline of a public employee or official, 1F, compensation of a public employee or official, 4, preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees, and 7A and B.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.